to another installment of ARW Now, the Anfield Rovers video podcast series. My name is Matty Camp. I am here in a cold, wet night in Sydney, Australia. So a little bit about me. I'm originally American, born and raised, but have been living down here for 9 years, and 8 of those closely involved with running the official Liverpool Supporters Club of New South Wales. As you can see behind me, the Sydney Reds. And we were all very excited 2 weeks ago when LFC, Jurgen Klopp, and pretty much the whole first team, as well as Steven Gerrard, Daniel Egger, Jamie Carragher, all came down here and played a game in front of our fans. So 72,000 of us went out on another cold Wednesday night and cheered and sang on the Reds and had a generally good time in the days leading up to that. So what I would like to do with my videos is try and bring a little bit more of that supporters club, overseas supporters club perspective to what it means to be a Liverpool fan, especially living overseas, and an American living in Australia might be as wool as it gets. But don't worry, there will be transfer news later. Don't. But I want to speak a little bit about how important things like a postseason tour match in Sydney can be, because for the longest time Liverpool has been a bit behind other Premier League clubs. They've been a bit slow to the uptake on some of the things you need to do to raise the sort of commercial revenues to be able to compete with the oil billionaires of Chelsea and Man City. It's one of the things that you have to begrudgingly admit Manchester United does extremely well, is to put out their brand, and as cringy as brand seems to sound these days, that's how they make the revenue that they can go out and splash £89 million on Paul Pogba, who has many assists as Lucas Leiva. So the things like this postseason tour, it reminds fans over in the other countries that when we get up at 3 a.m., when we get up at 4 a.m., the kits that we buy, all of those things that we go out and do at the pub, hundreds of us en masse cheering on the team, they're not forgotten and we're not overlooked. And the club does take us seriously as fans who live in L4. So that's probably been the biggest thing for me in terms of my dealings with Liverpool Football Club, is making sure that they're aware there are people who are making actually a lot of sacrifices to be able to watch a game of football down here. Getting up at 4 a.m. on a Monday morning and you've got work at 7, and you just squeeze in a Reds match before putting on your work uniform and heading off. So it's very important, I think, that the club continues to keep all of its fans in mind whenever it makes any decisions. We've had some pretty crazy times here, and Liverpool have now come to Australia 3 times and have seen it firsthand, I think, especially this time in Sydney, just how much we're into it. And so I would like to see more of those things continue, and I'd like to see a greater conversation about the global Reds emerging. So anyway, as promised, we'll get to today's biggest scoops. I think the thing that's been on the Twitter sphere, first and foremost, has been Southampton's dealings when it comes to the Virgil van Dijk transfer. So they announced yesterday, our time, that they would be reporting Liverpool for illegal transfer dealings. What exactly that means, we don't know. The Premier League has different codes of conduct regarding what can be done with a transfer. A club is not allowed to approach a player directly. A player is not allowed to approach a club directly without the player's current club being involved in that and giving permission to do so. So it remains to be seen, if Virgil was out on the seaside with Jurgen holding hands and talking about their future together, or if it was just a case of Virgil recognizes how boss we are and wants to play for us, and it's so obvious that Southampton think that something might be fishy. But I don't see this getting in the way of him coming to Liverpool. I don't see it as anything more than another bargaining chip for Southampton to try and squeeze a little bit more of a fee out, because Manchester City have pulled out, so it looks like we've now won the one-horse race. But we'll keep an eye on that, and I'm sure my fellow videocasters will have a lot more to say about it in the coming days. But make sure that you don't miss anything to do with any of the club's news or any of our upcoming videos by subscribing to ARW Now. Just hit the little subscribe button down there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Road Wolves, and you can follow me if you want to. If you want some pretty much nonsense from the other side of the world, at Matty Camp. Also find Anfield Road Wolves on Facebook now, and make sure you stay tuned for all of the updates that we'll have coming throughout the summer transfer window. Take care.